This February half-term, South Bank Centre is being taken over by children for Imagine's Children's Festival, our annual festival of literature, music, comedy and performance for the young. As part of Imagine, Michael Rosen hosts the Roald Dahl Funny Prize, a celebration of the best in writing for kids. We sat down with him for a quick chat to hear what he's got planned. So tell us a bit about why you're looking forward to taking part in Imagine Festival.
I think it's wonderful to get children to come out of a classroom and school context and discover that books exist not just in schools. Books are for fun, books are for pleasure, and that will then feed back into whatever goes on in schools. But the most important thing is that children see books in many different contexts, and the idea that you could go and you could see authors and you could have fun, and then just there aren't any questions, there's no homework, it's just simply a way of thinking and a place to be. So that's, I think, the main reason why I'm doing it.
And why did you decide to set up the Roald Dahl Funny Prize?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Right, there are lots of literary prizes. Prizes for adult books, prizes for children's books. And these are all pretty nearly based on the idea that you're rewarding great writing. And for some reason or another, what keeps getting squeezed out are books that are funny, even if they are themselves saying something serious and important. So I thought, aha, there's something funny going on with children, is that they love funny books, but we have no means of talking about them, giving them credit for what they're doing. So that was the intention, and it seems to have worked out.
What can children expect to see or hear at the event?
Well, we've got people who are really very untrustworthy and very undesirable. I mean, who have we got there? We've got Philip Arder, haven't we?
Yep.
Well, that's a disaster. You see, that's a big, big mistake to have Philip on the stage. I don't know whose idea that was. He's probably going to gas on about all sorts of things, about his beard and so on. We've got Louise Renison.
Yeah.
That is a nightmare. That is going to be a complete and utter... Well, it's just frightening what she will do. I mean, you know, she might get up, do Irish dancing. She might suddenly start telling stories about her grandmother. You never know where that'll go. I mean, her grandmother must have been utterly disreputable. We've got Liz Pichon. She does very funny drawings, as well as her lovely story about that weedy bloke. As I say, I'm very worried about Louise and Philip being there. Liz, fine, but those two, goodness knows how they got in. Really, the whole thing could be quite dangerous.
What's your favourite Roald Dahl book?
It changes, really. I like Danny Champion of the World, an enormous amount. I think that's a really, really good book. One of the few books that talks about strong feelings of affection between a son and a father, which is rare. We sort of... I mean, it's in fiction, but there's not a lot of it. Mostly you get bad dads and resentful kids and stuff. And the BFG, I think, very humane, very nice book. But I suppose Danny Champion of the World just about makes it, I think, yeah.
Can you tell us your favourite joke?
God, my favourite children's joke, the one that I keep repeating, but it's not exactly my favourite, is where do frogs change their skins? In the Croak Room. I don't know why that appeals to me, but it does. There's another one that goes like this. There was this man, he went to buy a horse, and he jumped on the horse and he said, "Giddy up." And the man said, "No, that's not how you get a horse to go." So he said, "Oh right, how do you get this horse to go?" "You say, 'Thank goodness,'" the man said. "Oh really?" So he was just about to say "thank goodness." He said, "I spotted a trick here. You haven't told me how to get the horse to stop." "Oh yeah, you get the horse to stop by saying 'belly button.'" The man said, "Thanks very much," said "thank goodness," and away went the horse. And they said, "Fantastic horse. This was a bargain. It's a terrific horse. It's galloping along, it's galloping along, it's galloping along." Suddenly he realises the horse is heading for a big cliff. And he suddenly also realises that he's forgotten the word to get the horse to stop. And the horse is galloping along and galloping along, and he's going, "What do I say? What do I say to get the horse to stop?" Nothing's coming into his mind, nothing's coming into his mind. The horse is getting closer and closer and closer till he gets to the very edge of the cliff, and he suddenly remembers, and he shouts out, "Belly button!" The horse stops, and he says, "Thank goodness." And the horse goes straight over the...
Oh dear.
Yeah, exactly, oh dear. It's not a funny joke, is it? It's a calamity, really.
In Imagine, we're going to be talking about why reading is important for children in care. How do you think poetry and stories can help children?
We quite often think of as adults as complete and children as incomplete. I don't know, again, where we got this strange idea that somehow or other children are incomplete human beings. They are human beings. It's just we have lots of different kinds of human beings, and some of them are big and small and round and straight and, you know, and all that. So we just have different kinds of human beings, and they're all complete. There's no such thing as an incomplete human being. An incomplete human being is a dead one. So if you're alive, you're complete. So if you're a complete human being, you have emotions, you have feelings. Now, the wonderful thing about writing was that we invented a way in which we could pour writing in and preserve it and give it an order. It may not be the only order, because you can do feelings by dancing or making a pot, but writing is one kind of order. Yeah. Now, people in care have many feelings. Of course they do, like everybody else. And some of those feelings, I know, I've met people who were in care or are in care, and some of those feelings are painful and difficult. Now, writing is a way, when you read it and then when you write it, it is a way in which you can, if you like, face your feelings without it being someone putting you on the spot. So it's not very nice when you've got important feelings and someone, as it were, points a finger at you and says, what are your feelings and why are you having them? You kind of go, well, actually, I'd rather you didn't speak to me like that, and anyway, I'm not telling you because you're very large and you're staring at me. Right? And that's totally right, that's totally legitimate. Now, the nice thing about a book, or even your own writing, is that you can go somewhere that's safe. So let's say you feel lost or bereft or some feeling like that. Well, if you read about someone else who's bereft or lost, that's not you. You can just go along with it and feel a bit what it's like for someone else to feel that. And that's very important, because a lot of the feelings we have, we think we're the only person in the world ever to have them. It's not actually true. You know, if you love someone or you hate someone or you've lost someone, the first immediate feeling is, why me? It's happened to me. And in fact it hasn't. It's probably happened to about 100 million people at the same time that day, but you don't know that. And one of the most comforting things in life, and I know this from bad things that have happened to me, is to actually know that other people have felt those things and are feeling those things at the same time. So I'm not going to say, oh well, writing is brilliant for people in care, quite as simply as that. It's just simply that is not enough. What you have to say is, it may well be that for people going through troubled times, that if they come across a book that somewhere or another chimes with them, let's say it's something written by Jacqueline Wilson, or for that matter by Charles Dickens. I mean, you know, what's Oliver Twist, what's Pip? These are people being looked after by other people, and you may think, wow, well, that's interesting, they did that, and then oh, I know why they did that. So you might feel at one point that you know about it, and that's comforting, or on the other hand, you just, isn't it interesting that this is the state of human life? It's not that I am exceptional and I am the only person that bad things are happening to. Because if you think you're the only person that bad things are happening to, it's an incredibly lonely place to be. Loneliness is not very nice. And I can remember that when my son died, that I thought I was the only person in the world whose son had died. And of course it's not true. You know, you discover that other people, and then you start figuring out that they're getting along and they're coping, or that they say their feelings, it chimes with yours, and you get a sense of recognition or a sense of communal feeling, and that's all very comforting. So my guess is that may be. I mean, I know somebody who writes about being in care. That's Lem Sissay. I mean, I've seen him talking to children in care, and it's one of the most amazing and exciting and profound and moving things that I've ever seen. That children are looking at him and thinking, how is it possible that you were in care? You are a clever, brilliant, wonderful person. You're funny. You're proud. How can it possibly be that you were in care? Because these children, we're rubbish. There's a way in which you blame yourself when you're unhappy. You feel that you're less than satisfactory. And he was able to kind of say, look, I've been there, I know, you see what I mean? And that was immense. I could see that was just, I couldn't talk like that to them. All I could do was tell my nutty stuff about where I'm coming from, but I could see that the way he told them, it was a very special channel between him and them. And they were the only people that could walk along that channel. You know, that was very important.
We hope you enjoyed our chat with Michael Rosen. To find out more about Imagine Children's Festival, which includes the Roald Dahl Funny Prize and a special poetry event featuring Lem Sissay, Jackie Kay and Roger McGough, visit southbankcentre.co.uk/imagine.